Lie down tonight and try to fall asleep on purpose, with real effort behind it. You will be awake at 3 in the morning. Sleep comes on its own or it does not come at all, and the harder we work at it, the further away it goes. Most things worth having behave this way. Try to be interesting at a dinner party and we become tiring. Try to be liked by someone and they begin to feel crowded. Try to force a memory that sits on the tip of the tongue and it hides, and then it walks into our head an hour later while we are washing a plate. Chase a person and they step back. Chase money with a look of hunger and people can smell it and they close their doors. So we push harder because that is what we were taught. If a thing will not move, we apply more force. If the door will not open, we hit it with our shoulder. We were told that effort goes in at one end and results come out of the other in a straight line. The old Chinese sages watched the world for a long time, and what they saw was a world that moves in circles. Everything travels out to its limit and then turns around and comes home. Day reaches its extreme and becomes night. Winter runs itself out and turns into spring. A wave that pulls back the furthest returns with the most weight behind it. Lao Tzu called this movement returning, and he said it is the way the Tao moves. If the world works like this, then what we send out will come back to us in some form, and what we grab at will move away from us. We could call this the Law of Rebound. This video explores 7 lessons about this rebound, taken from Taoist and Buddhist philosophy, and how they might change the way we go after the things we want. 1. Whatever we push against pushes back. Lao Tzu warned rulers that force always comes with a bill attached to it. Wherever armies camp, thorns and brambles grow, and after a great war there are years of hardship. Force is followed by a loss of strength. We can see the same thing happening in a living room. Argue with a man about his politics, and he hardens, and he leaves the room holding his opinion tighter than when he sat down. The trouble starts the moment we set ourselves against something, because the pressure we apply becomes the pressure we receive. This is why the Taoists compared a forceful life to swimming upstream. We can do it, and we can even make progress for a while, until our arms give out and the river puts us where it wanted us in the first place. So it might be worth looking at whatever we have been pushing against for years and asking whether it has moved at all, or whether it has only grown a harder shell. 2. What we grasp, we lose. Zhuangzi described an archer. When he shoots at nothing in particular, he has all of his skill. When a brass buckle is offered as the prize, he grows careful. When the prize is gold, he shoots like a blind man and sees 2 targets where there is 1. His hands are the same hands they were an hour ago. The prize has divided him, and half of him is now watching the outcome instead of the target. Most of us know this archer well. The interview that mattered most is the one where our voice came out wrong. The evening with the person we wanted most is the one where we could not think of a single thing to say. The tennis player who has held his serve all afternoon double faults at match point. Playing a stroke his body has made 10,000 times. Wanting something too much hands us a second job. We have to do the task, and at the same time we have to manage our fear of losing it. And that second job takes most of the attention the first one needed. The Taoists would tell us to keep the target in view and forget about the gold, and to do the work in front of us as though the result belonged to someone else. 3. Go low, and things flow toward us. Why is the sea the king of 100 rivers? Lao Tzu answered his own question by saying that the sea lies below them, so all of them run to it. Water never climbs. It seeks the lowest ground available, and by doing so, it gathers everything the mountains send down. We can watch this in any group of people talking about something they half understand. The loudest man defends his position and leaves with exactly what he came in with. The one sitting off to the side asks a question, then another, and admits when something is new to him. He walks out with everything the room contained, and the others walk out liking him. Lao Tzu said the best leader stays so far in the background that his people barely know he is there, and when the work is finished, they say they did it themselves. Such a leader has put himself in the position of the valley, and water moves down into valleys on its own. 4. What we give away comes back. There is a strange promise near the end of the Tao Te Ching. The sage does not hoard. The more he does for others, the more he has, and the more he gives to others, the greater his abundance. This is easier to test with attention than with money. Give someone 20 minutes of full attention without checking a phone and without waiting for a turn to speak, and see what comes back over the following year. Teach a colleague the thing that took 6 years to learn, and see who defends our name when we are not in the room. The man who hoards his knowledge is guarding a small pile that nothing ever gets added to, since nobody brings anything to a man who gives nothing away. Taoism is describing the way things move here, in the same way it describes water finding a channel. Whatever leaves our hands opens a channel, and channels tend to run in both directions. 5. Whatever is pushed to its extreme turns into its opposite. Fill a cup to the brim, and we will spill it before we reach the table. Sharpen a blade past a certain point, and the edge chips on the first cut. Lao Tzu put both images in one chapter to make a single point about anything carried to its limit, which is that it turns around and becomes the thing we were trying to avoid. In 1920, the United States banned alcohol in order to end drunkenness and the crime that came with it. 13 years later, the country had organized crime on a scale it had never known. Thousands of illegal bars and a murder rate that had climbed through most of the decade. The law was repealed in 1933. The crackdown had produced the disorder it was written to prevent. Our own lives run the same pattern on a smaller scale. The parent who controls a child completely raises a child who lies about everything. The perfectionist who cannot release anything imperfect releases nothing at all. The man who works 80-hour weeks to secure his family often loses the family he was securing. Lao Tzu suggested we stop before the cup is full and leave a finger of room at the top of the things we do. 6. What we send out returns with our name on it. A man once came to the Buddha and insulted him for a long time. The Buddha listened and then asked him what happens when a host prepares a meal for a guest and the guest refuses to eat it. The man answered that the meal still belongs to the host. The Buddha told him that he had brought abuse that day, and since it had not been accepted, he was carrying it home again himself. The Dhammapada puts it plainly by saying that hatred has never in this world been ended by hatred, that it is ended by love, and that this is an ancient law. Suspicion works the same way. Treat people as though they are about to cheat us, and we will train them to be careful and closed around us, which will then look like proof that we were right about them. Rule a team by fear, and we will get obedience inside the room and sabotage outside it, and we will never find out who did it. Whatever we hand to the world tends to come back to us in some form, often much later, and usually when we have forgotten that we sent it. 7. Stop seeking, and it arrives. Lao Tzu spent years training before he could ride the wind. The change came during his practice, when he stopped making an effort and let go of his ideas about right and wrong, and the wall between himself and the world came down on its own. He said afterwards that he no longer knew whether he rode the wind or the wind rode him. The Yellow Emperor pushed himself for years to govern well, and then wore himself out trying to reach peace. He gave up, fell asleep in the afternoon, and his answer came to him in a dream. Zen calls this kind of moment satori, and the monks are strict about one thing, which is that we cannot go looking for it. The looking itself stands in the way, since the part of us that wants it is the part that has to go. We know this from ordinary life as well. The idea arrives in the shower, the forgotten name comes back while we are unlocking a bicycle. The job comes through a friend of a friend at a wedding we almost skipped. Something in us lets go of the search, and the thing we were looking for finds its own way to us. Now, none of this means we should sit still and wait for a house to arrive. There is an old Chinese story about a farmer in the state of Song who worried that his grain was growing too slowly. He went into the field and pulled every shoot upward to help it along. He came home exhausted and told his family what he had done for the crop, and when his son ran out to look, the whole field had withered. The farmer wanted the right thing and used the wrong hand. Lao Tzu still practiced for years. These lessons describe the direction our effort should take, and they do not excuse us from making any. We plant, we water, and then we take our hands off the shoots. So perhaps we can loosen our grip on one thing this week: the person, the plan, or the argument we have been winning for years, and see what makes its way back to us once we have stopped chasing it. Thank you for watching.